you want to hear firsthand from a government whistleblower about the most fascinating and mostly classified UFO-related incident, perhaps of all time? Former Air Force Office of Special Investigations Counterintelligence Officer Richard Doty is a key presenter at this year's Awakening UFO and Conscious Life Expo in Blackpool. And this exclusive interview is a very special part of our ongoing coverage of the Awakening UFO and Conscious Life Expo, where whistleblowers are sharing secret and new information that will rock the world of UFOlogy. We're working in affiliation with Zohar Entertainment and Gaia. Gaia is your Netflix of consciousness. Please subscribe using the link below. You can literally give yourself a PhD on metaphysics and the quantum universe with this vast array of conscious content, all online at your fingertips. So subscribe now. Richard, thank you so much for joining us today. You're a regular as well on Gaia's Cosmic Disclosure with Emery Smith. So that's another reason to subscribe to Gaia. And let's dive into what you're covering in this year's Awakening Expo. I hear it's a story of UFO sightings, espionage, sabotage, alien abductions, and strange phenomenon. Tell me more.
And probably a little bit more than that.
Wow.
This incident involved a man by the name of Paul Benowitz, who lived just outside the base perimeter of Curlin Air Force Base, and just outside one of the largest nuclear weapons storage areas in the free world. And Paul took some pictures and tracked some electronic signals coming from the base. He eventually reported it to the base, and then we began an investigation. And during this investigation, we uncovered some very unique experiences. Let me go back. Okay. During this investigation of Paul Benowitz by U.S. intelligence, we discovered some unique situations that Paul developed in order to trap electronic signals coming from the base. Another thing that Paul did was photographed some strange objects flying around Air Force aircraft flying around the base. Now, what Paul did was he tapped into some highly classified programs involving U.S. intelligence and the United States Air Force. This led us, the United States Intelligence Service, to conduct a very detailed and thorough investigation of Paul Benowitz. And what we found will astound the viewers.
That is incredible.
We found some strange things. Yes. We found some things that Paul was doing, and we actually found some things that Paul photographed that was literally out of this world. And not only did this involve Paul Benowitz, but it involved many other people within the UFO community. Alan Hynek was involved. Leo Sprinkle was involved. And a little known 27-year-old female, Myrna Hansen, who was abducted. And this story that I'm going to present encompassed all these things, all these people, and the conclusion at the end will astound the viewers.
That is incredible, Richard. And this isn't conjecture. This is real life experience. And this is actual evidence, right? Taken firsthand. I just want to know, how does it compare to other cases that you have, been exposed to or looked into or researched?
Well, this was one of the most fascinating and incredible investigations that I conducted during my 10-year counterintelligence officer career with the U.S. Intelligence Service, because it encompassed a little bit of everything. We actually developed an espionage investigation, alien contact, real alien contact that was proven, sabotage, somebody that tried to sabotage something during this investigation, involved a number of different agencies, not just the Air Force Office of Special Investigations, but the Federal Bureau of Investigations and the National Security Agency and the Defense Intelligence Agency. All these agencies got together to conduct this investigation and try to figure out what Paul did, how he did it, and analyze the information that Paul provided to us.
And obviously, this would be a paradigm shifter for you personally to be involved with. It must have challenged your own version of reality to the extreme. How did you cope with, processing all this information?
Well, it wasn't easy. I certainly had a team of people that was assisting me on this, but it was a mind-boggling experience on my part. Although I had been briefed in to the government's investigation of UFOs and what the government knew back in 1979, but some of the things that we saw and some of the things that were developed and we found during the Paul Benowitz case went beyond that scope. Some of the things that he gathered, the type of information that he gathered, the possible contacts he had with an extraterrestrial race, I'd never seen that or heard of it before. So it was somewhat of a bewilderment for me during this investigation.
Richard, I know this is supposed to be a teaser, but I am so fascinated. Can you go into that ET race a little bit more? What the race looked like?
Well, I'm going to actually show a picture of an ET that Paul had photographed on a monitor. Now, this is 1980 era, and we didn't have I should say, the civilian community didn't have colored monitors back then for a computer. But somehow this image of this creature, an extraterrestrial creature, was received by Paul's computer monitor. Now the computer monitor, this gets into something else. This computer monitor was given to him by Alan Hynek. Now everyone that studied UFO phenomena over the years, from Project Blue Book up till now, knows the late Alan Hynek. And Paul took a screenshot with a camera, a 35 millimeter AE1 Canon camera, of this creature that's on his screen. And I'm going to show that during my presentation. Now, where this ET race came from, I'll leave that for the presentation.
You definitely caught my interest right there. And as a whistleblower, you put yourself in so much danger. I'm wondering, is your life on the line all the time? How do you feel about that?
Well, my non-disclosure statement ended a long time ago. And I've offered a number of times to the government to come clean with what they knew. There's certain things that I'm not going to talk about. There's certain things that I did during my time as a counterintelligence officer that I'm not going to disclose. Methods used, people, sources, information, and anything that would jeopardize the national security of the United States, I'm not going to disclose. But things like what Paul did and how he did it, most of all that, not all of it, but some of it has already been declassified. But there's a lot of things that Paul did that the government, United States government, can't figure out how he did it. And they're as puzzled then in 1980 as they are now.
And is there information coming out in your presentation at this year's Awakening UFO and Conscious Life Expo that has never been shared before?
Yes, there's going to be information that I present regarding the Paul Benowitz case that I have never presented before. I've never done a show. I've done over probably 25 to 30 episodes on Gaia, but I've never discussed this case on Gaia in Cosmic Disclosure with Emery, my very, very good friend, Emery Smith. But I have discussed it with the producer of the show, Sid Goldberg, but I'm going to talk about some things that I haven't. I did do a presentation on Paul Benowitz at a UFO convention some years ago, but I didn't tell the whole story there. I'm going to tell the whole story now.
Why now, Richard?
I think it's time. I think it's time because currently there's a disclosure program going on within the United States government. Unfortunately, all they're talking about is something that's happened within the recent history, within 10 or 15 years. They're not going back and discussing what we know or what we did back in the 70s and 80s. I became involved in this in the late 70s, right up to 1988 when I left government service and moved on to a civilian company. And even at that civilian company, I was involved in the same program, something similar. And so I think it's time that the public knows what we knew back then. And again, I'm not going to jeopardize national security, but I'm going to talk about things that the public should know.
Well, this certainly sounds like one of those groundbreaking presentations to me. I absolutely am looking forward to listening to it and also to a full in-depth interview about your presentation at the event itself. So I'm really grateful for that. In conclusion, Richard, why is it so important for the masses, the public, humanity, to hear what you have to say about the Paul Benowitz case?
There has been so much false information spread about Paul Benowitz and about what I did and what I didn't do during that investigation. The investigation lasted from late 1979 all the way up to 1986. And so there was a good portion of that time period where I had day-to-day dealings with Paul Benowitz. And there had been people out there spreading disinformation about me driving him crazy and us doing these strange things to him, feeding him psychedelic drugs, breaking into his house. And so I'm going to set the story straight on a lot of those things. We did do some things that I probably wouldn't do if I had to do over again, but I was following orders. My duties were dictated by higher authorities, and I did what I was told to do when I was told to do it. But there's some things that I'm going to talk about that I probably wouldn't have done or shouldn't have done, but I did because I was told to do it. If I had to do it all over again, things would have been a little bit different. But we never broke any laws. I never broke any laws. Everything that we did was sanctioned. And I'm going to go into details on that and explain to set the story straight and some of these this disinformation that was spread by other people.
Sounds like it's made for the movies.
Well, you know, as some people say, this sounds like a movie script, but it's reality. Everything that that I'm going to talk about really happened.
And there you have it, everybody. Richard Doty offering never before shared previously exclusive classified information on the Paul Benowitz case. You don't want to miss this exclusive at the Awakening UFO and Conscious Life Expo in Blackpool this year. This will be featured on Gaia. Please click to subscribe to Gaia through the link below. And Richard, I cannot thank you enough for this incredible interview, and I'm really looking forward to listening to your presentation and learning more about this case and taking that to the next level. Thank you so much for now. I'm Kristen Gillespie, your conscious investigative reporter, signing off for now in service to humanity and all sentient beings. Thank you, Richard. See you at the expo.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye.